And we're live, guys. What's going on? DIW Mafia JP here with the big Jaws. Josh.
How are we doing, man?
What's going on, man?
Nothing. I'm
Well,
good. I'm excited for tonight. This is fun. We get some football. We get some pro wrestling. We get the things that's what we talk about all the time anyway. So when you can combine the two into a fun podcast where we're literally gonna flip a switch at the top of the hour on this end and go from pro wrestling to XFL, which just XFL, alternative football. Let's just say that, right, on the night of the draft.
yeah, it's gonna be exactly. And we're gonna start. The draft starts at 8:00. That'll start at 8:05. For those listening live, you'll see a continuous run. We'll probably pause in the middle at some point just to play a little video or something or other, just to introduce the new show. For those who download it, it will be in two different shows. It'll be the Irish Whip and XFL Extreme will be two separate entities to download. Reason for that is just some people aren't going to want to listen to the wrestling part of it. Some people aren't going to want to listen to the football part of it. We get that. Timber Moon already in the chat room. There's her boys. That's right. Her Irish boys right here. Yeah, it's been an interesting week, Ben. It really has been.
Yeah, it's been interesting wise wrestling for sure, just because AEW Impact, we've talked at length about AEW and the comparison of NXT, how that having them both on the same night really helped them both out. And then we can talk about the viewership because both of those numbers are in.
Yeah, both of those numbers, they're still pretty much the same. I think AEW was a little bit ahead, but not by enough to call it anything.
No,
but they both went down from where they were.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the viewership is overall down on both accounts. So
literally less people watched wrestling on Wednesday night.
Yes, literally less people watch wrestling on Wednesday night and more people watch on Tuesday.
So there's no win or loss there. It made sense to move it. It did make sense to move it. I don't think it was a competition thing. I think it was just like it might have been. The WWE might have thought they would get more followers, more people viewing, and that brings in ad revenue. So you'll see me looking off at I got the NFL draft on.
JP, where are you pro wrestling wise? I know it's tough for you to consume. I really think WrestleMania, like I was all in on a lot of. I think I burned out a little bit. I feel like that. I feel like I've got some post WrestleMania burnout.
I don't watch the TV stuff, and I haven't. I did watch a little bit of Raw, not a whole lot. I haven't even told you this yet, but 10:45 Monday night, I got the call.
What call?
I'm in the Thunderdome.
Are you serious?
My first time ever.
You're gonna do it for real, huh?
Oh yeah.
Don't be surprised if you get kicked out. I don't know how many times I did it, and it took me literally I think on the third attempt I finally got in. It says don't refresh your browser, blah blah blah, bullshit. Like refresh your browser because you can get in.
What I might do is just show this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you'll guarantee you'll get kicked out if you just show that. Guaranteed. Same reason when we were wearing that slapjack mask, the hockey mask. Same premise.
Now, yeah. So I got that. I got the main event apparently 10:45. So that's pretty cool.
So we're 4 minutes in. It's Thursday, and you know how we are. We keep things real, right? So there's news, JP, and we're just going to talk about it. Like Molly Holly. This is from Wrestling News Source. I think Ben just released this. States that Molly Holly was hurt that our WWE Hall of Fame speech was cut short. Doesn't surprise me. Does it surprise you?
No, they're given timers. I saw at WrestleMania 25, they all ran over, but there was like a visible timer that everybody could see counting down. Like anyone in the audience could see it. You're a pro wrestler. You're supposed to be able to make your times. Yeah. I get that that's a big deal, and you want to name everybody you can and thank everybody you can, but you know, you got to still make your TV time.
Well, I guess the thing is she was upset it was cut short, but she did say that the company allowed her a longer speech on their official YouTube page, which made up for her disappointment.
And hers might have been cut short because someone else before her ran long. You know what I mean?
Honestly, the only reason I watched the Hall of Fame is to listen to the crowd chant. And when I didn't get that, I watched probably 2 minutes, man, and I was out.
I like it, but I like the old timers. Like that's my jam. Like I've been watching that A&E the where they go looking for the artifacts. I've been watching that every Sunday now.
See, you're on a different. That's cool because we're on different vibes. We're totally on opposite ends of the spectrum. I'm caught up in a lot of the female wrestling stuff right now with Mickie James and the way some of that stuff's gone down. We haven't really talked about it yet or really commented on it, but
indie wrestling is coming back.
Dude, yes.
I know Caleb has shows coming with New England All-Star Wrestling. You can check them out on Facebook and Twitter and all of that good stuff. Instagram, they're partnered up with Die Hard Eddie Edwards and the Die Hard Dojo. And he has a couple of shows announced already and a couple more that aren't announced. I just got a text message from he'll probably get pissed at me, but I just got a text message from UFO Wrestling that they have a show coming up later on this year. So
awesome. There's Mad Dog's hanging out. Hey, happy draft day to you too, man.
What's going on, Mad Dog?
It kind of reminds me of I remember the first WWE draft. That was always fun. I enjoyed that before it got stupid. So draft night for us, this is gonna be fun, dude. We always talk football during football season on the podcast anyway.
Right. We're both football junkies, really. I mean, I'll watch football all day on a Sunday. I don't do Monday nights too often. I don't do Thursday nights too often, except for like Thanksgiving. But all day on a Sunday, that's all that's on my TV.
It is, but I usually it's football or pro wrestling, and sometimes it's both, depending on what's going on and where the TVs are at or availability. But it really is. It's always been.
If it's not Paw Patrol.
Yeah. If it's not Paw Patrol or Blaze or Noggin or ABC Mouse or whatever else is on the tablet at that point in time. But it's cool because I'm not pushing that agenda. I'm not like, hey, let's sit down and watch wrestling. I'm not like, hey, sit down. I'm like, I'm just letting the kid be his own self, and he's King Dingling, man. He's his own self, that's for sure.
But he enjoys it though.
Oh, all day long. I enjoy it too. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy it. I've learned so many life lessons from Paw Patrol and how to put shit together from Blaze and the Monster Machines. It's insane. Other news, dude. WWE Hall of Famer Road Dogg Brian James has returned to NXT after his heart attack. So how you feeling on that?
I like it. I think he's the perfect guy to be an agent. Like I think he's a great mind, and I think he can help a lot of them out. And he also he's been around forever. I pull a Bob. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and when I mentioned the next thing after we talk about this is I'm a little confused. Maybe you can clarify and help me understand why a decision like this and where. I mean, I do understand it, but I think Road Dogg gives you a lot of leadership that you otherwise wouldn't have. From not saying it's not there, but it's a different type. Like he's been through it. He's a Marine. Like honestly, he understands.
In his time, too, he was the best promo in his time period, I think.
Man,
I'm talking pre-Rock.
when you heard ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like D Generation X probably brings to you. You know, when you heard that, the entire crowd was in it. Everybody was in it. All the 5-year-olds up. Everybody doing the suck at chops at 5-year-old. That's why we got suspended in school. It wasn't because we used words, it's because we X'd our crotch. That's why you got kicked out of class.
That is it. It's that led to a lot of suspensions. It was that, and then that led into the middle fingers. You know, telling people
backwards middle fingers from Stone Cold, right?
Telling people to suck it.
Do you want to get in the viewership? Let's get in the viewership here. We're 10 minutes in, so let's talk about viewership since we touched on it a little bit. We had even before this started, right?
Showing Roger Goodell on my TV.
What?
F that guy. They were showing Roger Goodell on TV. F that guy.
Oh yeah, right. Whatever. He's talk about marks. Mark out for that. This so AEW Dynamite viewership. We talked. I mean, this is one of the things when this first happened. I think we both agreed it was going to be short-lived, right?
Yes.
We both agreed that it was going to be something that it wasn't like a Monday Night Raw SmackDown type competition. That was, I don't want to say developmental, but professionally, it's on the level of an NXT. So when we're talking about
guys there that obviously can have and would make it on any level.
Oh, well, Sting's there. Greatest
I
ever.
mean, yeah, you got Sting, you got Finn Balor, Jericho. But there's also guys like I'm trying to think of a couple that are like ready, that are there. And I think they've all come up at this point. But you got like John Silver, who, if John Silver was 2 feet taller, would have been signed 5 years ago.
Adam Page.
Adam Page is absolutely ready. Hangman's there.
I watched it last night and I struggled through this Young Bucks, Don Callis, whatever this is. Like, I struggled through it, man. I struggled through a lot of it, and I think the reason why I struggle through it is because every time I see the talent that we've seen working Beyond, I compare it to a Beyond show, and I don't know if that's fair to AEW. That's a huge statement for me to make, and I don't know if it's because I'm a mark and a homer for Beyond, or if it's the writing style and the way things are presented. But I would take a 2-hour Beyond show where the production's probably not going to be as good, but boy, the matches are going to kill it.
Right. And I watched the Jericho, Chris Jericho on the Stone Cold podcast, where like he was saying how he's still pretty much in touch with Vince McMahon. Talks to Tony. He's like, I have access to Tony Khan, like, and that's why things like him showing up on the Stone Cold thing were interesting. And I think you said a while back that you thought they were sort of working together, and I always doubted it.
I absolutely feel
maybe they are. Who knows?
I absolutely feel. I mean, if they're not working with each other now, they will be.
Yeah,
Eventually.
there's conversations at least.
Everybody was always like, "Oh, what's this Dark Order? I'd rather, I don't get the Dark Order." No.
Well, I'm sorry. It's a group of wrestlers that aren't NWO, so I'm sorry you don't like them because of that.
Well, and that's just where I'm at with this. It could get there, and I really feel like we're at that point. Even though people won't talk about COVID, it's still here. We'll bring it up a little bit more in the XFL podcast. Canada's still closed. Pro wrestlers can't come. It's tough right now. And Sadie Gibbs just officially announced her retirement through AEW, so she's done. But she's doing her own thing anyway. I mean, she's doing her own individual training stuff and being successful at that. So, I mean, viewership for AEW was last week 1.1. This week was at an 889, so down to 889,000 people, which was where they were at when NXT was along with them.
So now, if I ran a business and I went down about 20% from one week to the next, and I knew I had no competition, there was no other product like me on at the same time, down 20% a lot. I would be reflecting on myself on that one and trying to figure out what it was and how to get that. Now you don't have to get that 20% back. Now you got to get 25% back.
You know what your 20% is it's involving impact. And I mean that in the most respectful way. But
what do you mean? I mean, Russ Woman wouldn't lead anybody wrong.
Whatever. All I'm saying is that when whatever your relationship is with Impact Wrestling, whatever that is, I don't know what it contends to be or pretends to be. Whether all AEW is to me is an elevated independent promotion that is elevating other promotions and bringing in talent to do so. Yeah. Amazing, awesome. They're doing that. That you have to have the alternative. It's got to be there. So why do we continue to listen or hear, or why do we even continue? I guess we haven't. But why do people continue to compare AEW to WWE when they're two totally separate entities, two totally separate business models, two totally separate types of individuals that work for those companies? We continue to compare this?
At the end of the day, it's not. It's one tries to be pro wrestling with. If they were going to college, it would be a major in pro wrestling and a minor in sports entertainment, and the other one majors in sports entertainment with a minor in pro wrestling.
Absolutely. And there's a difference. And I don't get me wrong. Like I'll go back and I'll watch this week's AEW. I'll watch Raw. I'll watch SmackDown. I'll watch the abbreviated versions.
Right.
But I'm going to fast forward through the Young Buck matches. I'm going to not watch anything that Kenny Omega. Why put another belt on Kenny? I guess to get us to talk about it. However, it doesn't get me to invest in it, or that's what I guess
Kenny
what I'm saying.
Omega really is one of the best in the world.
Absolutely one of the best in the world. So why would you put that belt on him?
So
just like you said, the belt needs
right. Sometimes the person needs the belt, and sometimes the belt needs the person.
In this instance, the belt definitely needs a person. Definitely.
Yeah, and I think they're trying to establish that belt, so they're putting it on.
Well, don't put it on somebody and then call them the same thing that you were calling a previous individual that collected belts, the belt collector. Like, you can't do that. Those are things. As a purist, I'm a purist, right? You know that. Like, I'm going to go back. Like, you told me this 4 years ago, but now I can't. No, that doesn't compute. It doesn't work. That's a square peg round hole thing. And that's just me.
Now, here's the other thing on why you have to have him have the belts. Okay, so he has the AEW title, right?
Yes.
And he's wrestling for the Impact title, right?
He already has it, dude. He just absolutely has both those belts right now.
But what happens if he loses to the Impact champion? What would have happened?
A lot. That would have elevated Rich Swann to a level of what I mean. Putting that AEW belt on him would have elevated him to. You're talking New Japan. You're talking Kenny Omega status, and I think that's the problem with me. Is I can never see anybody, bar a handful, that I could buy with that AEW belt on it, just because the people that have already established the history behind it. Am I wrong, dude? Am I wrong in that thought process?
No, because it's opinion, and there is no right or wrong on it. There's right ways and wrong ways of doing shit, but
I just think it's rushed. It's rushed. Everything it feels like with AEW right now is rushed.
And I honestly haven't watched the product, so I don't have a lot to say on it. But
I told you from day one I was going to give it 6 months, right?
Yeah.
I gave it 6 months. I caught up. Here we are. We're going into another pay-per-view. Getting ready to go into another one.
And that pay-per-view's away. So what was WWE getting for a pay-per-view before the network? $40? Was it 50? Was it up to 50?
No, I don't think it was up to 50. At some point, I think it had ventured down below like 29. But jumped back up to
like
I think
60, I think, for the big
$39.95.
ones, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah. So I'm just gonna make sure.
But
So you have the wheel ready, right?
I have the wheel ready.
Okay, so we're about 10 minutes away from spinning this wheel. So
Are we gonna spin it in the first half or the second half?
no,
Because
let's
it's an
spin it.
XFL spin.
We're gonna spin it in the first half because that's kind of what I said. Is we'll spin it in the first half. That way,
What's up, Elvis?
we're doing.
Sorry, I wasn't
doing.
looking at the chat room. You're
Yeah,
not late to the party, Elvis. It's a long ass party, buddy. We're in a marathon now.
Yeah, this is a marathon for sure. Anyway, I mean, it's the same thing. NXT they dropped as well down to 744,000 viewers. That's down from 841. So you're looking at a 10% drop. So overall, 20% AEW, 10% NXT.
Guys, if you want to see your name up on the screen, like we've shown Mad Dog Matt Kelly's, we've shown Timber Moon, Elvis Martinez up on the screen right now. Whatever platform you're watching us on, whether it's Facebook, YouTube,
Twitch,
any of those, just comment. The comment will show up in our little chat that we have here, and we'll throw your name up on the screen for a few seconds. That's Timber. The Boston Marathon should have happened last week, but this is a marathon this week, so we 2 hours, and it's gonna be a good, entertaining 2 hours. I'm also watching like all the super fans.
You're seated
at the NFL draft as we talk. So
you're seated at this point, right? You're seated and ready for this information. Right?
I'm seated. Yes.
So this is no joke when I say this, and I think you may have been halfway paying attention earlier before we came on. Jason Jordan becomes WWE's lead producer.
What? Kurt Angle's son?
Yeah, Kurt Angle's son is now the WWE's lead producer. So this is from Wrestling News Source. WWE continues to do a shakeup with the company. As of right now, Jason Jordan is now the lead producer. He oversees all others on TV and is taking over John Laurinaitis' former position. So there you go, dude.
Does he have trash bags?
Does he? I think those are probably coming from Duke.
Those came from Macarano. Do you know? You know, can we put?
Do you remember how long? Can we talk about Mark Carano for a second? Can we talk about history with him since we do have history? Can we talk about it?
Yeah,
dude, that guy is an asshole. That guy is a complete and utter asshole. Not just because of the way that he treated Mickie James and all the other individuals, but just the way he treats people overall. Like he used to shit on podcasts all the time because it wasn't worth a professional wrestler's time or energy to do a podcast. Yet here they are. You know, that's where we're at. So everybody that's joining us, we are going to spin that wheel here. It's pretty cool. Thank you guys for coming in. What's up, Joe Salenza? Yeah, so Jace, that's the. I mean, Kurt Angle's son is now the lead producer for WWE. JP, I'm surprised you didn't get hired.
Did you see who was just on Mickie James's podcast?
Who?
One Christopher Rucker.
Who was?
Chris Rucker.
He was on her podcast?
He was on her podcast, yeah. She did his show a while back, if you remember.
Yes.
And she did like a roundtable on hers and invited him onto it.
I did not know that.
And he said it was cool. He didn't fanboy, but he said as he went in, like as he joined the call, Rucker, what's going on? She was excited to see him, or at least seemed that way. So that's pretty cool, and always glad to see someone like Chris do well, because Chris isn't only a good guy, he works really hard.
Dude, he's the hardest working guy I know. I wish I worked as hard as he did. I wish I worked as hard as watching Chris work.
You know, he's got 3 podcasts at this point, with 80 Proof, the Dallas, the Cowboys Shitcast, and
well, I mean, the good thing is Vince called her
to the face. So
Vince called to apologize.
Yeah,
So
that is cool. That's a big, and then took care of it, and then took action. Like took, you know.
well, he knows it's bullshit. I don't want to. I don't. I'm trying not to swear, but when it comes to stuff like this, it's so disrespectful and rude to treat somebody like that. So, Mark Carano, you can. Good luck, brother. See you
F
next
off.
Tuesday.
F off.
I mean that's a good thing, right? I mean, Vince will always. To me, Vince will always do the right thing. Cool. We got the wheel up, man. We're like 5 minutes away.
Look at the colors. You designed the logo, correct?
I
The
did.
XFL Extreme logo.
I did.
Can I just thank you for the colors on it?
You're very welcome.
I'll say they're very patriotic, if you understand what I'm saying.
I do say, and I do. I did it. I did it for you because the black and gold did not look as good with XFL Newsroom as the red and blue did. So by default of design, the colors went out.
You know what? I know I saw Haddock's. Hang on one second.
This is I'm gonna shed some light on this. So we just talked about the impact. Also, Moxley is going to be defending the New Japan Pro Wrestling IWGP US title. Appears in 2 weeks on AEW Dynamite. So you've got the Impact title appearing on AEW. You got New Japan's IWGP showing up on AEW. So is this what we talked about? New Japan Pro Wrestling coming here to the States? I mean, isn't this kind of what, can we say George's name kind of predicted years ago was going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, he was sort of in charge of it at that point, and it just didn't go through when he was in power there.
Right. I mean, it's really is coming to fruition in.
Sheldon tried to make a play with them 2 years, and you remember, well, it wasn't New Japan, it was who was it that did business with ECW at the first ECW pay-per-view?
Dude, you're tapping my brain right now. I'm so football focused. That's in a file buried under files right now.
Because that was Sheldon Goldberg that kind of brokered that deal, and he had them in, of course, for an NECW show.
Well, I mean, I don't want to continue to talk bad about Impact because that pay-per-view was up, like, from some numbers and what people have reported. Wrestling News Sources saying, I mean, it's up almost 8 to 9 times more buys, which is AEW. That's what Kenny Omega brings to the table. Right. That's where it's at. So, I mean, that buy rate's amazing. That's pretty cool. Hats off to them. But still, I don't know, man. Rich Swann, Kenny Omega. I mean, what?
It's somewhat crazy, isn't it?
I mean, I understand it. I understand why AEW is doing what they're doing. I just don't, as a fan, as an NWA fan, as a WCW fan, as a WWE fan, as a whatever fan, it just it reeks of total awesomeness to speak of it, but it cheapens a lot of things when I watch it. So I'm confused by it. I'm just confused, man.
I'm watching the draft, and all of these kids are coming in now in their brand new suits and sneakers.
Hey, just also know this. Some of those kids that are walking in those nice new suits and sneakers, there are people that design those. And on that XFL podcast, we're going to be talking to some of those people that design that stuff. Maybe we'll get some designer gear, dude.
Well, this is their like 3-piece suits. They're tuxedos for the.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is the form. See, this is secret stuff that I get to release while you're here.
All right, that's.
Yeah, he's some of those kids you're going to be seeing walk, specifically some of the linemen because they're harder to design for. Is where he excels. So it's funny how people in this world reach out to us at the right times. So it's another one of those coincidences, man. So it's should we spin this thing? Because I really want to give away this t-shirt.
I was just gonna say the wheel shuffled. I got music on there.
We're actually on time today.
I'm gonna shuffle it. Give me a number between 1 and 5.
1 and 5?
Yeah.
That's it? 3. That's middle of the round. 3.
2, 3. 3 more times just to make it completely random.
Perfect. I like the tunes.
Yeah, I changed it up. I went with rock today.
Nice. This is very cardish. Straight out of the nothing. I can't wait to see who I'm buying a t-shirt for. Why do we need to apologize for women, Timber? I'm confused.
I don't know. John's Eye is one that's been on this wheel, or been on the Free Fig Friday wheel and came over here. So
awesome. John's Eye.
Reach out.
We got your tea.
There were a lot of people that I saw switch over.
Oh, yeah. I did not expect when we decided to do this on Thursday. I don't know. I don't even know the reasons behind it. You just said, let's do it Thursday. I'm like, okay, whatever. I didn't put the draft together. I didn't. Timber, thank you. Not you guys, Vince. Yeah. That's what she was talking about. It's just fun, dude. It's just, this is what we would have been doing tonight anyway. We would have been talking about wrestling on the phone. We would have been talking about the draft. We would have been shitting on each other's teams. We would have been trying to figure out why this team has it. Aaron Rodgers wants to trade.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk about it. I'm excited to talk about it, just like I'm excited to talk about like the pinnacle. AEW, and we were talking a minute ago, ratings, and what if the pinnacle gets to the NWO type status? Really, what if they do? And at that point, they show up on a Monday Night Raw, or they show up on a Friday Night SmackDown.
That's
like Dean Malenko and Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit. Like, what if that just happens? What if they show up like Lex Luger does in the Mall of America in Minneapolis on a Monday night? Like, people are gonna it's gonna happen. It has to happen. It's inevitable. It just, history repeats itself, especially when we're talking about pro wrestling. It's inevitably gonna happen, one way or the other.
Is back in the day, you had Kane, right? You had Kane's debut, and they had to tell you it was Kane debuting on WWE TV. Vince McMahon going, "Oh, that's gotta be Kane."
Yeah. Yes.
Now, the guys like Mick Foley was sort of the exception. You knew who Mick Foley was. He was Cactus Jack. He had already been around for a while, but someone like Kane, who hadn't really been on TV, had just been out in Memphis, and coming in as a brand new character with the mask, they had to tell you who it was. Now these guys all get a chance to sort of develop themselves on the WWE product before they go up to main, so they don't have to do that. You know who a lot of these guys are when they come in.
It happens. It's because
that's what I like.
It's because we're marks. It's because it's a,
don't say that word.
Mark out.
I'm gonna have to go and edit that. I'm gonna have to beep that out I'm not doing that. Sue me.
It's literally the first time that I went savage on somebody in a DM and didn't care who they were, what they were about, or what they were bringing. I just brought it.
Do we tell the story here, or do we tell it in the other?
No, we'll tell
the second half.
I
want to talk about it.
If you guys want to hear a story as to why, for the we didn't even do an episode yet, and we had hate, we had threats of a cease and desist, we had people in our DMs,
lawyers.
It was threats of anyway, we'll talk about that in the
lawyers that I'm going to go on the limb and say the lawyers that don't exist. And little do they know is there's guys that I can call up that don't work for me, but would be glad to take my money to represent me, that are lawyers that specialize in sports entertainment law.
Yes.
So he would be glad to take that. And, I'm not saying he's going to take it for free. I would have to pay Mr. Eric Anderson Darnell. But he would be glad to take that. And I said his name wrong, so you can't find him and use him to sue me. But there's a lot, and there's other people out there that I know that happen to be lawyers, that happen to be involved in pro wrestling, that understand how it works. So if you want to try to sue me over a common carny term that is common language in the carny world, go right ahead.
It's basically because we have amazing people that listen to our podcast. We have amazing fans. We have amazing support. And when we started to do another podcast, bringing what we do to the table just ruffled a few feathers the wrong way. And we'll talk about that later. But I don't know, man. Are you going to try and make a Beyond show? Not to switch. Do you have to do?
Yes.
Do we have to do a read? Do we have to do a read right now?
Yes.
Should we pay some bills? Talk about our amazing sponsors. I'm hoping it's Podgo because those guys are freaking amazing to us.
Podgo is great. Let me see.
FedEx was always good to us. Who were some? Blue Chew was bad. That was I probably shouldn't have mentioned that.
You know what? Like Blue Chew eventually paid. Like I wouldn't say nothing bad about them, but you had to chase them, and I didn't like that. That's not my style.
Don't chase your money, guys. Don't have to chase people down to get the money.
No. Manscaped was good. Manscaped sent the this podcast out there that I've heard say they thought they agreed to money with Manscaped. It wasn't the case with us.
No, we got product.
So
some of us got product. Some of us got to try that out.
I wind up with all the product.
That's funny. I enjoy it literally. Oh, it's gonna be 10 years from now. I'm gonna show you're gonna give me a box of Bootios, and you're gonna hope it pays for everything.
Today's podcast is presented by Podgo. Podgo is the easiest way for you to monetize your podcast. Providing podcasters with a flat rate for ad space, so you always know how much you get when you include an ad from Podgo. Apply today to become a member and immediately be connected with advertisers that fit your audience. That's podgo.co at podgo.co. And be sure to add our podcast, The Irish Whip, in the How Did You Hear About Podgo section of the application.
We rarely talk about ourselves, but you can always follow us at the number 3 Irish Boys with a Z, or simply search The Irish Whip. And absolutely, Podgo, no matter if you've got 100, 200 downloads, they will find a tier or a way to help you monetize your podcast. So absolutely give Podgo a call and tell them that the Irish Whip sent you.
That's it. We appreciate Podgo.
Chelsea Green.
You know what's cool? Podgo responds to everything.
Absolutely. They're good people. They're an amazing way for individuals to monetize a podcast, especially people like us.
It was not easy, but think about this. Back in the day, I don't know what your deal was with Chris Cash. I know what ours was. We paid $50 a month.
I think mine was about that. We paid $50 a month to have him do our show.
And Podgo pays that.
Yeah, Podgo pays us to do this. So instead of us paying somebody else,
right, but I mean,
such a different world.
Without getting into the numbers, Podgo would have covered Chris Cash.
Absolutely. So thanks again, Podgo. JP, Chelsea Green had to issue a statement after Twitter backlash over artwork. She just grabbed somebody's shit and used it. Not like we don't do that as podcasters or artists, right? We don't just grab shit and post it ever.
Yeah, it depends on what it was. Wrestling photographers and wrestling artists are very protective over their stuff.
Well, as they should be.
You can't, Dave Cole. Dave Cole woke up one day and Wu-Tang Clan had shared his Ric Flair Wu-Tang symbol.
Yep. Without credit.
And all he did, he just sent them a message. He didn't ask for anything. They didn't reply to him. But he was happy with that. Now, somebody else took that same image and made a t-shirt of it.
Yep.
He wasn't so happy with that. And there was a lot involved in getting that taken down because he was making a shirt with it himself and he drew the fucking picture,
I 100% agree.
So I guess it depends on what the artwork was, on where I fall on this.
All it really was a picture, right? just saying that now taking bookings basically just like a photoshopped advertisement of
Okay.
if you just think of like an old I should probably should I just share so I mean you can at least you can see I guess what it is, and then you can decide on your own. Like that's it right there. Like that's just literally it right there. It's just her in a pink background.
Okay.
If you guys are interested, go to Wrestling News Source, search Chelsea Green issue statement. It's right there.
So here's my problem with somebody having a problem with that.
What?
Whoever drew the picture was using her likeness.
Exactly. I mean, I don't want to make it. I don't want to do whatever. But did you ask her if you could use it? Did you ask Impact if you could have their likeness of their belt on there? I mean, that just yeah, I get you, man. To me, it's funny that somebody would raise a stink about this. I've done art and I've had it taken, and I've had it retweeted, and I've had it used by professional wrestlers. And to me, it's like it's a nod and a thank you, not like, oh my God, you took my stuff. I don't see it that way.
Right. And here's the thing: is it's her picture. It's her.
It's her.
It's not like it was a random artwork that said now taking bookings like in a fancy artistic written way.
Yeah.
It's a picture of her.
It's like us using a hashtag, like Timber said.
Yeah, hashtag Marco.
Oh man. Backlash is coming up, man. AEW's pay-per-view is coming up. Is that
something? This is Mad Dog just hit on something a lot of people have been talking about that I've seen online. Do we think that Daniel Bryan will leave SmackDown and go to Raw?
He's not going to Raw.
Too. Huh?
He's not going to Raw.
What do you think he's going to do?
I think he's going down to NXT. I think he's literally going to. Yeah. Yep. I think he's going to go down there and help the Black and Gold brand. Yeah, I'm a homer, dude. I'm going to wish it to fruition. I'm going to want it. I'm going to will it to happen. I'm going to will it to all the way. Like, can you imagine Daniel Bryan and Finn Balor in a tag team? They broke up their Hurt Business. Nobody gives a shit anymore. I mean, how long did the Hurt Business last? Nobody cares. Nobody cares about shit in the WWE anymore. They don't.
Well, there's no
care.
longevity. There's no, like, everything's, it's got to be a flash in a pan. It's got to be a quick and it's done. There's no, it went from being a YouTube video to a TikTok video.
Here's another reason why Backlash doesn't matter is because it's Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, and Braun Strowman in a three-way.
Because
nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's a Backlash.
Yeah, I know. It's Armageddon. Every pay-per-view to me that's not one of the big four is Armageddon.
Are they worth it anymore?
No.
Have we finally
I mean, they're worth it because I don't pay for it.
True. That's what we do. I mean, we pay a subscription service
No, Peacock's included with my Xfinity.
Well, okay. Well, you don't, but some of us still are.
I actually think I do. I actually think I pay $7.50 a month.
Put it this way: if that was an unavailable option, and your only option was to pay, whether it was $29.95 or $39.95 or $49.95, are you going to watch a WWE pay-per-view or are you going to watch a UFC pay-per-view like we just watched this last week? I know. Same.
Yeah.
Raise the Jolly Roger. We're there. I'm the same. But are you gonna?
I do pay though because I freaking bet on the UFC and I always lose. So I do wind up paying the pay-per-view fee. By the way.
Yeah,
and Mad Dog
says, I like Money in the Bank too, Mad Dog. I do. I love Money in the Bank.
I like Money in the Bank.
JP will vouch for this. It's one of my favorite pay-per-views, just because the opportunity there for anybody that like the Miz. It's an opportunity for things to happen.
That's a good match, and that's a good pay-per-view and a good match for like the unexpected person to win.
How much is the Good Old Boy Network affecting the success, or is it when it comes to these ratings? And I'm not saying Bobby Lashley he deserves the title. I really do. I just don't. Braun Strowman and what they have done with him for the last year and the all over the place. There's no direction. There's no meat on any of the stuff that the WWE does. There's nothing that anybody can bite their teeth into. It's all flighting. It's by the seat of their pants. It doesn't feel like it's together, tight. The only thing that feels tight is anything that is associated with Bray Wyatt, probably Drew McIntyre, and maybe the New Day. Maybe. And that's just my opinion. That's how I feel. When I watch these things, those are when I feel like it's tight. And I don't know if it's talent or if it's the backstage stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to. You know me. I would love to go back to the old days. I would love to go back to jobbers. Not
can't.
everybody. Why not?
We can't. There's no way, because you have to have a face and a heel. That's the way that it works now. Only way you can have a jobber is if you have a Goldberg. Goldberg broke that.
No, you can. I could put a jobber in there on a Monday Night Raw.
A local guy. If they use local guys, you can.
No, I could. I could tour a jobber. I could turn Daniel Bryan into a great jobber and make 1 million stars off of him.
Oh, I know you can. The Harlem Globetrotters need the generals. I get that. I get that, man. You need somebody to you do. But he's not going to sell T-shirts. The contract's not going to be the same. There's no way that this works.
No, the contract will be the contract will be the same, and they'll both make more money because if the jobber's the heel, the babyface is going to sell more merchandise if the jobber is doing his job right.
Isn't that the point, though? Is that they're throwing in whoever and not taking into account that the person that is willing to be the jobber or the heel or the face, whatever that is, whatever the jobber is defined as for that point.
And everybody sells merch now anyway. You're going to see days where it's going to come to a time when they're going to bring in a local guy to do a job, and he's going to have merchandise on WWE.com.
Has to.
It's going to come to that point. Like, they get the stuff out there so quick. Except for August Gray. They don't have any August Gray stuff yet.
It's coming. It's coming. Just the fact that I have a Drew Gulak WWE action figure hanging up in here right now is pretty cool. So that's, I mean, Finn Balor.
I got my Ivar figure up there. Like, means that's probably the figure that means the most to me.
Yeah. It has sentimental value, and I really think that's what we're missing in pro wrestling today. Is there is no sentimental value or buy-in into any of these characters. There's nobody that's taken me on a journey. Nobody's taking me on a trip. Nobody's taking me anywhere that I want to go with them. It's maybe the only reason I'm riding this ride is because it's cheap, man. I'm not gonna wait. I'm not gonna wait 3 hours to go ride the ultra mega cool new roller coaster that everyone wants to ride. I'm gonna go ride that one 30 times while you're waiting to ride it once. Like, I'm gonna ride this thing until the wheels fall off. And Hugo, I don't know if you listen to podcasts, but like Hugo Savinovich said it right. Like, the only worst enemy of WWE is WWE itself. It really is its own worst enemy. And that I agree with that.
Makes sense.
I don't know how to. It's not going to go back to the golden age is gone, and maybe that's why we are the way we are, because to us that will always be what we compare today's product to. And I don't know if that's a fair comparison for today's product, but I know that I don't want to see. I'm not going to spend my 3 hours on a Sunday for a pay-per-view watching Bobby and McIntyre and Strowman. Like, I'm not going to go watch three big guys do this. I'm not. It's just, and then the undercard, it's the main event sets up the undercard for me, and the midcard, it sets it all up one way or another. There's gonna be matches that aren't that good. There's gonna be ones that are gonna surprise you, but to me, this makes me not want to watch at all.
Yeah, I'm with that. I do agree with that.
I mean, I'm sure there's going to be other matches that will make me name one match that you in the last year, JP, this year, like, oh man, I got to watch that one. or that you remember?
In the last year,
Yeah, even WWE wise. Right?
I'd have to. I don't know. I was the one that I was probably most interested in seeing was Orange Cassidy, the Orange Juice match with Jericho, because I wanted to see how Chris Jericho would deal with somebody like that and how it would how he would put him over.
See, that was for me probably the most anticipated one for me. I know a lot of Bailey stuff for me was big because her progression over the last year, like year and a half, it's been tremendous. Like she's the one I want to buy a ticket for, not these three.
Bailey. Oh, the women's matches have all been incredible.
Not only that, like all she has to do is put on a pair of glasses and old lady's coat, and she sells it. I'm And if you get, I guess that's the point I want to get at is I always apologize for my opinion, and that's I didn't used to do that, and it's because I respect the business and I respect these three men. Like they're entertaining us, they really are, and we're not a disrespectful podcast, but man, if you're gonna sell tickets and you're gonna want me to sit down and invest myself, like if you're gonna put the time and energy into, don't go through the motions, man. If you're just gonna go through the motions, then get the fuck out. Excuse my French, but. Thanks, Matt. Pack your shit and get out. Mickie James is way more classier than you, man. So I struggle. Like I get why you want to have a championship match, but why a three-way? Why does Braun have to? And those are the questions I asked myself: was what about this makes any sense? Nothing to me, and that's the struggle. That's the struggle when I sit down and watch now. It's a struggle to invest in these characters that are being developed because Braun Strowman, I don't know how many developments he's gone through in the last 2 years, but who is this guy?
Bobby D just checked in. Let me tell you what Bobby D is doing right now. Bobby D is with his son at the Bruins game.
Oh, I saw a picture of them earlier today.
What's up, Bobby?
Hockey. Love hockey. Like we're literally a couple minutes away from making the switch.
I just did a tweet about it.
Yeah. As always, guys, it's at the number 3 Irish Boys with a Z. It's pro wrestling wise almost all the time. But we're gonna get ready to switch gears here in a few minutes. Ooh. Are you kind of excited about this?
Let's go.
I'm a little apprehensive because haters.
I'm full on. What's up, Woody? We're about to talk football for an hour.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I don't know if you follow American football, Woody. We're about to talk XFL, probably NFL draft because it's on here. You know what I bought today? Woody will appreciate this because Woody's a huge fan of this. I bought a couple shares of stock in Endeavor Holdings.
Oh, nice.
Which Endeavor Holdings just went public today. They are the whole owner of the UFC.
It's pretty cool.
So I own a piece of the UFC. Dana White, you work for me now.
It's kind of like owning a piece of the Green Bay Packers, right? Nobody gives a shit.
No, dude, I'm telling you, the last couple of UFC events have been on fire.
Timber and I watched this last one, and it's been a while since it's been a while since I've watched a pay-per-view. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
And the women's fight, the main event, the broken whatevers all the time.
Yeah, the nerve damage to the knee, the broken leg,
dude, that kick to the back where it made his leg just go numb and he couldn't even walk on it.
That's happened 3 times in the and then the other guy that kicked and broke and tore like every ACL and in his fucking body of kicking Uriah Hall. Uriah Hall has caused that to happen to 2 different people now.
Yeah, they used to give him beef. They used to get beef because they thought he's not doing anything on purpose. It just happened.
Right.
happen.
He went to kick him and he braced himself. Was it you who said he probably trains like Steven Seagal? Just kicking the trees. Was it Bloodsport?
JP, are you ready to flip the switch, man?
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna flip the switch. It's time for some XFL stream. We're gonna take a second here. We're gonna do the switch and
We're gonna leave it live, guys. We're not gonna drop you guys off at all.
No. We're just gonna make the podcast switch from here to there. That's all we're gonna do, right?
I'm taking some notes. I have times down.
Got it?
Got it. I'm ready, man.
Here we go. What's up, JP? It's XFL with Extreme, and we're here to talk football.
This is the Extreme Mafia now.
Hey, don't mark out. Glad to be here. Excited everybody's here with us. Like we're literally, it's the draft. JP's got it going on right now.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
I was never a huge draft day guy, and for some reason this year I want to watch it all.
Is it just because, is it because of where your team's at? Is it?
Well, so the Patriots never go in with early draft picks. They always trade their early draft picks away.
As they
if
should.
They draft an offensive player in the first round, they have a late first round pick and then an early second round pick. If they draft an offensive player in the first round, which they need, it'll be the earliest they've ever drafted offensive player.
Yeah.
But I'm also hoping that San Francisco, me and you talked about this, I'm hoping they draft a quarterback.
I'm hoping that the Steelers do everything that they can within their power to win games and do it without idiots hanging out with guns in their cars. Like, I'm tired of the Antonio Browns. I'm tired of the Plexico Burses. I'm tired of all of this. It's been a long time, dude. It's been a long. I can throw Holmes in there. I can throw all. It's just a system, guys. It's just
Antonio Brown can go keep hanging out with Jake Paul at the UFC.
Yeah, Jake Paul can. Just like the fans said during the UFC event when him and Tyson were face to face, you heard the fans during the fight. You can go back and hear it. You can hear him say "F Jake Paul." You can hear him chant that.
Jake Paul is a genius, though.
I know he is. He's making. Look at the money he's making. We're talking about him right now.
He figured out that he can call these guys out. He's called out Usman, who just won the UFC title. Yeah. He called out Daniel Cormier.
Cormier would kill him.
Oh, both of those guys would. Depends on the match.
I'd pay.
Is he going to box them or is he going to fight them in an MMA styled match?
I don't give a shit who it is. Cormier in a boxing match will kill Jake Paul. So Cormier would kill Jake Paul in any fight.
Well, so here's the thing. Right after he won his fight against Ben Haskell there, Scran or whatever.
Yeah.
He put on his Twitter, Jake Paul did, I can beat Nate Diaz in 3 rounds.
Speaking of
Nate Diaz is a great freaking boxer.
Of course he is, but he's booking this. Just like, let's talk about how would you book? Huh?
Diaz kills him before the fight starts, though. Like Diaz will stab
with a gun with a loaded gun he got from a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Nate Diaz is an animal. Him and his brother, and their stand-up game is on point. You're not beating them. I'm sorry.
Can we take a minute here and we're gonna play the interview halfway through here, right? So you guys get us for a half an hour, and then you guys are gonna get to listen to the interview that we did earlier with a global draft pick, CFL middle linebacker for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Les Maruo.
I purposely
Les Maruo.
So I know what the CFL is. I know what the XFL is. And I purposely didn't look into this because I want you to explain it. What is the global merger?
Okay, so when we're talking about football and they say global merger, you have football in Japan, you have football in Denmark, you still have European football, you still have football that is going on across the world. As Americans, right? As us in the States, when we look at football, we look at the only thing that we compare to, the only lens that we have is the NFL. Or some of us have the CFL too, like up here in Montana. I've had some experiences with it just because of a lot of Montana kids go up there and play. Dave Dickinson is a U of M alum that played in the CFL and is a coach of the Stampeders. So I've had some experience with it. When they talk about the global merger, really what they're talking about is a global league to an extent, but there's still going to be it's a feeder program, right? You still have a feeder program. It's like soccer.
Okay.
The concept is just like soccer, and that's kind of why I want to talk about how you and I would. We're not gonna merge. How would you book an XFL CFL merger? We're not. This isn't a. This if
that
I'm going to do it.
Like, so I would split the teams in half, okay, and divide them up by region, not just north and south, but like just like the NFL has the AFC and the NFC.
You already have that. You have the XFL and CFL.
Right. That's how I would book the merger. I'm not going to have the teams play. Well, once in a while they would play each other. There would be interleague games.
And would you treat it like an AFL NFL merger where you're going to take 4 years to do this? You're going to
no, it shouldn't take that long.
But you got COVID, and the only reason I'm asking is because I'm trying to bring everything to the table. Like Canada is locked down hard. Like you can't get in there, you can't get out. A lot of these maybe the draft picks do get in, maybe they can't. August, they're looking for a CFL start. XFL, nobody's really saying anything. So a lot of times on the Discord through XFL newsroom, everybody's talking about how there's stuff going on. But the biggest thing is when there's no talk, there's plans happening. Nobody's talking because there's plans everybody's busy putting plans together right now. And I really feel like everybody's anxious. They want it to happen. They probably want it to happen too quick. We talked about this, like even booking an ALNL thing. Like if you're going to do interleague play, each play your individual seasons, right? But book a couple, book a couple of those games where you're having an XFL team travel to see it to a Canadian team, and they have to adjust to those rules, right? You got to play on a bigger field. You got to play with a bigger end zone. You got to add an extra man. You're talking designated hitter as opposed to a non-designated hitter. The CFL teams come down and play in the XFL. Guess what? You're taking that guy off. You're not running into motion. Maybe they do have motion, right? You're going to the kickoff stationary. There's a lot of things that can happen. There's really a lot of things that can happen with the XFL. They could even go the route with the NFL and comparing it to soccer again. Can you imagine if you had 3 of the shittiest teams in the NFL? Like you're just shitty. It's no comparison. You're just a Cleveland Brown. Just how it happens. It's just you're just that team. Oh, you're a butt fumble team. It's who you are. Those bottom 3, right, go down to the XFL. They're relegated, just like any soccer team would be relegated. They're relegated to the XFL, and the top 3 teams in the XFL move up into the NFL. So you get those teams and those markets a chance to make that NFL money. You get those.
But do you make them all run by the same rules? Because doesn't the Canadian football rules don't they have a bigger end zone?
Yes, they have the bigger end zone. There's a center line plus a 50. So there's a center line. Then there's each of them have a 50, right? So it's an extra 15 yards, I think, longer. Plus, you have end zones that are deeper and longer. The goalposts are on the goal line, not back behind the end zone. There's a lot of things, man. There's a lot. In all honesty, it really should be a new league. There's no merger that needs to happen. It's a matter of establishing a new league. And my feelings and what I've read and what I've seen is that CFL fans hate XFL fans. Like, they hate us, just like those dudes like that hated us, like, for no reason, right? We're just coming out. We're trying to do a good thing. We're interviewing some nice people, and they come at us. To me, it's the same way. You have to be willing to upset the apple cart in Canada and know that you're going to make the XFL money. Does that right? I mean, The Rock has how many followers himself? You look at the CFL's social media. That's how everybody compares things now. How many followers you have? What's your influence? That's the market now. It's post-COVID, and everybody that continues to leave this in a pre-COVID status of things of the status quo, and we're just waiting to get back to that. Not going to happen.
We saw that firsthand on the wrestling side of things with the Irish Whip podcast when dealing with Impact Pro Wrestling or Impact Wrestling, whatever. I guess they're not professional. They don't have the word pro in there.
No.
But they when I had a call with Ross Foreman about trying to get an interview, and he said, basically, don't call me, I'll call you. And we left it at that. But he had all of our numbers. He knew how many Twitter followers we had. He didn't know how many downloads we had. I provided him with that information, much to his dismay. He tried to cut me off, but I got it out. But he knew how many YouTube followers we had and Twitter and all of that. So, like, if you think those guys aren't paying attention, they are. And when you're doing a podcast, no matter what size you are, the guys above you know, like, we're not a huge podcast. We're moderate. And we pay attention to the guys above and below us.
Absolutely. We're successful because we stay on our groove. We're not worried about what other people are doing. We're not worried about some guys that are giving away a T-shirt for the Seattle Dragons that have mark out in their bio, and then they threaten with a cease and desist order and get stupid. I mean, for me, it was a fun hour wasting the time. It was able to root out the rats real quickly.
Yeah, we saw people's true colors in this space, which we're not that type. We want to expand everybody because we understand that if every podcast does well, we're going to do well.
Yes.
If every podcast is against each other and fights, and we've seen this firsthand, then it's not going to do anybody any good.
No.
The positive attitude, and like, this isn't fake with us. This is us. Like, we have if you mess with us, you're gonna get the shit end of the deal.
Absolutely.
But if you're cool and you're respectful and you're a decent human being, we're gonna do what we can to elevate you. Whether I like you, I may not like you as a person, but I think you have a good product and I think you're a decent human being. Just for whatever reason we don't get along, I'm gonna promote you.
Right. And the same thing with XFL Newsroom. If we're doing something and they understand we're edgy, we're out there, we're going to say things. When we interview people, we're going to ask the questions. That's what we do. That's what we're known for. And we'll continue to do that. The problem is that we came into an arena in 2019, we just left it dormant until it was time for us. We perfected a craft. We worked on our craft. We got to a point where we felt comfortable. We were ready to tackle another beast in something that we're passionate about, which is football, and something I'm passionate about, which is alternative football. The option to have an actual alternative league or a supplemental league to the NFL where teams could be relegated to a league that's lower than they are. Like, can you imagine how much you don't just get away to throw away the last 3 games of the season, JP? If you get relegated, man, you're going to, I don't know, Missoula, Montana. You're going to, I don't know,
about
shittiest
20
towns
years
in the world.
ago.
You're going to end up in Memphis or, I don't know, name some Aberdeen, South Dakota. Is that bad? I don't know.
I had the opportunity about 15 years ago or so I was still late in my life to be doing something like this, so I did not take the opportunity. But there was I don't know what you would call a semi-pro football team that was trying to launch, and I used to see the guy who ran the team at the bus stop all the time. And I'm a big dude, and he knew by what bus I was waiting for where I was from. And the team that he was trying to start up was the Southie Chippewas. And in my father's day and time, when my father was a kid growing up, to play on the Chippewas was a huge deal.
Yes.
Like there were guys that came off of the Southie Chippewas, that South Boston Chippewas, and made it to the NFL. It was a big deal. It wasn't a semi-pro team back then. It was just like a park league team, but they were good. They were really good. And this guy was trying to restart that. It turned out he wasn't from Southie. I had told him no anyway. I was like, dude, I was in my 30s. When I was a kid growing up, South Boston did not have organized football. So I had never played organized football.
Ever?
Never. I've played, we used to put teams together and play, we'd go down the beach and play tackle, or we'd play, tag rush in the middle of the street, but I had never played on an official team with like a uniform and coach, that type of thing for football.
Have you, Ryan Mallett, were you a fan at all?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason I bring that up is because the spring league is about to start up. I don't know if you know really what that consists of, but it's just another alternative league. Like he's going to be down there. He's playing for the Sea Lions, I believe. He's a quarterback for the Sea Lions. Dungy is down there. So there's
really.
Oh yeah, it's
well, they all pay attention to that stuff. Same thing with like baseball and any sport. They all pay attention to that stuff.
It's I think we've realized how quickly one, we can upset an apple cart, and two, like we're just here to talk football, man. That's really it. And do some really cool interviews, and hopefully, I know I've listened and watched some of these guys talk about the CFL, and they're impatient and they want it to happen. Like the Discord on the XFL press room, like you were in there for a while. It blows up daily about people wanting or demanding things. And I just keep coming back to the social media draw. It's if you're The Rock and you have 15 million followers, and you post something about some random energy drink that you like how many followers do you think that energy drink picks up in a day? What do you think that social marketing or that return on investment for him to post or tweet that? And that's the type of marketing, I think, in the intellectual outreach that whatever they're planning or working on right now is going to be some next level shit that when they go back and look at it, they're like, why didn't we think about that? Why didn't we think of that?
There's a kid on YouTube. He was a streamer. He was a gamer called FaZe Rug. And he's just a YouTuber now. Not just a YouTuber. He has like he's working towards 20 million followers on YouTube. But one of the energy drinks that's sold at 7-Eleven is Chug Rug. And that's named after him. Like his face is literally on the can.
Yes.
He's not a celebrity.
No.
And that's made by G Fuel, which is like one of the bigger energy drinks. Like that's where this world is at today. Like these people come in and they make these TikToks. And like if you're a media person or you're an athlete, you're anything, you have to have a TikTok, you have to have a YouTube, you have to have a Facebook. Not even so much Facebook anymore, Instagram and Twitter though. Because there's as much money there as there is in playing your sports, and it's if you don't take your name, someone else is going to steal it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, really, the thing is posted yesterday, and this is from the XFL. Is that this is I guess you'd call it a statement. It's a graphic. I could put it up, but I'm just going to read it. It says the XFL 2022 season is on hold pending the outcome of our conversation with the CFL. So that was as of yesterday.
Hashtag breaking news.
Well, I continue to go to the simple fact that when there's no news and nobody's talking about it, and if you search for it and you go to the news sites like XFL Newsroom or you go to any other news site, there's nothing being talked about. CFL is really just, they have the August start date. When I talked to Les the other day, he's getting ready to head up there. And it's really just a matter of this coronavirus. And I think the goal in Canada is at 70% of the adults have to be vaccinated before they will open things up. So they're literally getting to once that number is it was able to be reached, then they start to open things up. So they're making people get vaccinated. They've also talked about, I saw that Trudeau talked about vaccination passports for some of these areas, and that's really because the coronavirus, they're starting to spike again. I don't watch the news. I just read what I see in that XFL Discord, which it's pretty cool because there's a lot of news that are related to the coronavirus, even in Japan and around Canada and where it's at. And they have projections as far as when they're going to be able to open up based on how many adults can get vaccinated by a certain time, and then they're going to open up a certain percent. Unlike us, who just
but like Canada is not like vaccinated at all right now.
No, and it's difficult. I see Lufisto on Instagram, which is a pro wrestler, daily, and like she's playing guitar, doing her thing. She's another one that put in her time and did her thing. This could be the time where she could get that last final run, and it's just not happening because borders are closed or
right.
And it really depends. I think everything hinges on the coronavirus right now. There may not even be an XFL 2022 season, and if it does start, it may start at the end of the year, or they have a draft. I mean, CFL draft is going to follow the NFL draft tonight. Have they drafted? Is the first pick already gone? Is it Jacksonville, Urban Meyer? And
3 minutes, 4 minutes, 3:52.
So cool. That's awesome. So we'll have time. We're going to play the less Maruo Biddy.
His name. I was going to say that we've had his name spelled like 2 different ways in different places. There's some that we didn't have control of.
Maruo. Maruo. Les Maruo. Total Japanese. It's an amazing story. I mean, This kid lost his father at a young age. Made a trip over here to the States from Japan, didn't know a lick of English. Perfectionist. If he said a word wrong when he was a kid that he got made fun of and bullied, he'd go home and practice until he got the pronunciation right. So this is the kind of kid you're talking about when you're talking about a global draft. You're looking at kickers, right? You're really looking at kickers because you're getting the Australian rules kickers and stuff like that. And what keyed us into this is who takes a linebacker in a global draft pick when you can grab kickers, right? The Winnipeg Blue Bombers did it, and I can kind of see why, because he sounds like a pretty special kid.
Yeah, he I thought you did a great job with that, and the interview was good. He had like you said, there was a great story. Him talking about getting into football and all of that, and just how he came in with the team. Who did he get drafted by?
The Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
The Blue Bombers, sorry. And how he got drafted in the same spot as his coach who played the same position.
Yes. And he talked about the call, like the draft call, and he talked about, his friends wanting him to come over and how he had spent a lot of his time being alone. He talked a lot about not having that father figure, how a lot of the accomplishments he's had in his life has been things that he's done on his own. So he took the time to be on his own, and he didn't even know it was the head coach that called when he called. He was just in the moment, caught up in the moment, and he was a little bit nervous. I could tell when we started, and I can, we do the best we can to put.
He loosened up though.
Yeah, to put everybody at ease, and it's just because we're not a media outlet. We're not here to do a media interview.
No,
we're not here to. I'm not going to ask you about stats and can you throw against this guy and can you beat that guy. You've already answered those questions. Those questions have already been asked. I want to know how shitty was it at 9-year-olds when you lost your dad? How shitty was that? I'm going to ask those questions because that's going to tell me what kind of character this kid has. Does he really have that? Does he have the drive? He talks about being an Asian American and size and showing up in football and like, shouldn't you be doing math or, Asians don't play football. So it was a fun interview, and I think it's really enlightening when we start talking about a global football league, and if it really happens where we could get 2 leagues that could be successful in the NFL that could work together and have some type of relegation where if you're the bottom 3 teams, you're going to go play in this league and you're not going to get the type of money that you would get in a championship league. That's just how it works. So I don't know. There's so many options. There's a lot of things I think everybody is talking about on the table between CFL and XFL. The purists of the CFL don't want to see it to happen, but I think the capitalists of both really want to see it happen.
Now, the draft pick is in. The first draft pick, Jacksonville Jaguars, the pick is in.
It's got to be Lawrence, right?
I believe it's going to be. Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, had to.
Breaking news, guys. You heard it here first.
Urban Meyer there, man. That's pretty impressive. I haven't reached out to my buddy Jason that was actually an NFL scout for the Jaguars since all this went down. I was going to kind of wait until after the draft because this is his big day. This is his day where he's done everything he's needed to do, and I'm sure it's been extra challenging, so he may be one that we have on the show here to talk about what that was like to be an NFL scout during this time of year and during the COVID years where there was very little play and a lot of probably tape to watch, but I don't even know if he's still employed for Jacksonville. We're going to probably find that out too.
This kid's got 3 perfectly placed Gatorade bottles on his living room table.
Are they perfectly spaced?
Perfect. No, they're all right next to each other. 3 different, the red, white, and blue, I think it was for the flavors. But like perfectly aimed so you see the label.
How much, before we get into this interview with Les, how much success of the National Football League can you place on the shoulders of advertisers?
Oh, all of it.
Not just the networks, but advertisers as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, the networks run the schedules.
Yes.
And that tells you that that's how much. It's completely run by the advertisers.
Do you feel like there's money on the table for alternative football?
Oh, yeah.
I do too.
Because America loves football. And I don't know what the Rock's plan for the XFL is or what the XFL CFL merger plan is. Vince McMahon's plan was perfect for the timing.
Yes. It was perfect.
He wanted to start it in February when there's no football. Football's over. You just had your Super Bowl. But guess what's still on everybody's mind at that point?
Mm-hmm.
Football.
That's a perfect time. It's a spring league. It is a spring league.
So, yeah, I think that's the time to do it. I don't think you compete with the NFL. I don't think you want to compete with the colleges. So you don't want to go during the regular season on Saturday or Sunday.
No, because you're taking money off the table and you're taking money out of people's mouths that way. There's more competition at that time of year.
Right. I think you do it in the spring. I think you're perfect. I think you'll make a lot of money. If it's done right. If you don't stop the clock to let a team score a touchdown because the victory's in.
So first pick is in. I think we've covered what we needed to cover for the first 30 minutes here in our.
I got one more thing to say here.
Yeah.
And that is today's podcast is presented by Podgo. Podgo is the easiest way for you to monetize your podcast. Provided podcasters with a flat rate for ad space, so you always know how much you get when you include an ad from Podgo. Apply today to become a member and immediately be connected with advertisers that fit your audience. That's podgo.co at podgo.co. And be sure to add our podcast. Please add the Irish Whip, as that's still our account there. That may be changing over the time. But add the Irish Whip in the "How did you hear about Podgo" section of your application.
God, I love it when you read those Podgo ads.
It gets better. I get better at it every time, don't I?
Yeah, I figured you'd have it memorized by now.
No, because I can switch it up. We can do different ads. Like we could have done. Let me see. We could have done Brush, the electronic toothbrush there.
Any of the food delivery services there?
No.
No.
Real
Panties?
sleep.
Any female garments?
In store.
From Hut to Right to You?
In store. There's Fulton's got 2 versions.
God, I love
that's
Podgo.
for your arch support. So that doesn't, I think Podgo is the one that kind of fits our demographic the best. I think podcasters listen to us.
Yeah, Podgo's the only one that listens to us right now. That works for us right now.
So,
all right, guys, enjoy. Man, this has been a good time. I've been tongue-tied a couple times because I'm excited about the draft. I'm excited about football. I'm excited that we're doing this. And it's cool. At XFL Extreme, here's the interview with Mr. Les Maruo. They're piling it in now. Man, for the W, it's a Yeti. What's up, guys? I am sitting here with a young man that was born in Japan, did not speak a lick of English until he moved to the States, had one junior college offer out of high school, a Division I full-ride scholarship to UTSA. He's got a BS in kinesiology, an MS in business, and now a global first-round draft pick for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Man, Les, how are you today?
I'm doing great, sir. Thanks for having me on here.
Man, I'm super excited when we get a chance to have, like I said, you're a homer, man. You're one of those young men that we were like really excited to grab a hold of when the draft happened. I made fun of it because there's a lot of punters that go, but that's obvious. It's a global draft pick. Everybody else plays soccer in the world besides us in the States that play football. So I made fun of it, but it was really different to see a linebacker go that. How did you like talk about the call? Like when you got that, were you expecting the call? Did you think the call was going to happen? Where were you at with it, man?
So the thing with the global combine, it was supposed to happen in 2020, but with Corona, it got canceled and I had to wait all the way until, March of 2021. So, it's been a long process. I've been waiting for like 2 years. And I've talked to almost every single team, but with Winnipeg, I've had multiple Zoom sessions, and I talked to their head coach, their GM, all their coaches, assistant coaches, and I just felt really close with them. I just felt like they believed in me. I felt like, I just felt that like a family-oriented connection with them. So I was actually telling my friends, like, I really think I'm gonna go fourth pick. Like first round, fourth pick to the Winnipeg. And then next thing you know, it happened. Whenever I saw that on the screen, on the CFL's tracker, we had it on the TV. I just started yelling and I just started like going crazy. And then whenever I calmed down, I got a call from the head coach, Mike O'Shea, and then he, I didn't even know it was him at the time because I was so excited. I was kind of like, like, thank you. And then I didn't even know that was the head coach. But after I got off the phone, I just started screaming, let's go. I think CFL posted me on their Instagram if you want to see that. So I was very excited. And then, a couple hours later, I found out that, it was the head coach, and he actually played linebacker. He was a CFL Hall of Fame linebacker. And whenever I looked up his stats and everything, he's a great player. And then the crazy thing is he was picked first round 4th pick in the CFL draft. So, like, it's kind of, we have a lot of similarities, being a linebacker and being picked, first round, 4th pick. So it was a real surreal moment, and I'll really cherish that moment for the rest of my life.
Cool. And you bring up that coaches are one of those things as athletes. I was an athlete a long, long time ago. I'm an old man now, so my career is long and gone. So I get to live vicariously through men of character like yourself. So it's really cool when we get to hear those stories, and we appreciate that. Like you're chasing your dream, like you're chasing your football dream. This is something that do you feel like you're able? Are you manifesting this, man? I mean, I know you posted on Twitter like, "Hey, I said this a year ago, and here I am." Like, are you making this happen?
Yeah, it's crazy because, like you said, exactly 2 years ago from today, April 27th, 2019, I said it was right after the NFL draft. I didn't get a call. I didn't get any, shot or anything like that. And I said, what I said, I
don't even remember. I just remember reading it today. I don't remember what it was, but
I what I said, but I was like, I said, don't worry, I'll find another way. That's what I said. Don't worry, I'll find another way. And then next thing you know, 2 years later, almost, actually yesterday, but almost 2 years later, exactly 2 years, I signed with the Winnipeg, so it's been a long process, and, I just trusted in God's plan. I always had faith, and I just kept believing, like, I always felt like I belong in the CFL, NFL. I always thought that, I had the talent and athleticism and work ethic to get there. So, it was a surreal moment, but I still got a lot of work to do when I get to the CFL. I want to prove myself and prove other people wrong that I belong on the field.
So when I ask this question when an individual or an athlete says, "I'm here to prove somebody wrong." I don't know if you can name names. I don't know if you can name people. I don't know if you're speaking in general, but a lot of times, is that directed towards? And these are what we talk about, man. We're not the regular guys when we interview. Like I'm gonna be respectful to the CFL. I'm gonna be respectful to XFL. I'm gonna be respectful to everything.
Yeah.
But I want to know, like, what makes you're talking about resilience. And you're talking about, I'm going to rise to the top and I'm going to show you. Like I'm going to be defiant and I'm going to show you. Are there people in your life like right now you're going to say, "Look at me, watch me go"?
Yeah, it's just that, like, I was being an Asian football player, growing up. I started playing football in middle school, but like being an Asian football player, you just kind of get that look like, I've never seen a Japanese football player before. Like, can he actually play? Isn't he supposed to be good at school? Like, are Asians athletic? Like, you get those kind of questions, you get those doubts right off the bat from the coaches, from the players. So I always had to prove myself. I always had to prove myself that, I can play, I belong on the field, but it takes time because, it's human nature. People doubt you and stuff like that. So, right now, I made it to the CFL, but I still have to make the roster. I still have to, I want to play on the special team. I want to get in the rotation linebacker. I want to eventually start as a linebacker. I have those goals in my mind, and then, when you get to the higher level, a lot of people start, like kind of hating on you a little bit sometimes,
They're grabbing your coattails, man. They're grabbing your coattails because they want to hold you down. They want to keep you down and they want to be better. And that's one of those things I think I've seen in you is that you're willing to separate yourself no matter what that means to get to that place where you want to be. And I feel like you're in that place. And the biggest thing when I did the intro and I left it out is, and you lost your father at a really like a young age. Is that, and that's kind of the purpose of the question was, is this one of those things like, "Dad, I'm here, like watch me go"?
Yeah, so I lost my father when I was 3 years old, and it was hard growing up without a father because I didn't have that leadership, that man guidance of telling you what to do. I just kind of, did my own thing, like play sports just because I wanted to play sports. And then I just realized that with sports, I can get a full-ride scholarship, especially with football, because football, you got a lot of money. So I knew that I could help my single mom out that's raising 2 kids on her own. So, if I get a full ride scholarship, she don't have to worry about paying for college, So I wanted to, kind of get out and do something different with my life. So with football, I got those many, many opportunities that led me to, getting my master's degree, going back to Japan and playing as a professional for 2 years. Now I'm going to the CFL and representing my country. It's just, it's a crazy, crazy story. Like, you can't write it any better than that. It just sounds like a movie, really. But I'm just truly blessed. And yeah, I'm just very, very blessed.
How difficult was it? I mean, you moved to the States that's a pivotal time at a kid's age. You're getting ready to go in the double digits, 10, 11, 12.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know a lick of English.
Yeah.
Plus you're moving into Midwest America.
Mm-hmm.
How tough was that for you as a kid to adjust and come here? Plus you're battling the stereotypes of you can't play sports. You're supposed to be this. I'm not saying this. I'm just, stereotypes in general when it comes out is, you're supposed to be smart at math. I get good grades. I'm not athletically talented unless I'm playing ping pong, like the stupid shit, excuse my French, the stupid things that people would say when it comes to that. So like battling those stereotypes and where you're at right now on the drive and losing your father, has there ever been a time where you haven't won?
I mean, it's just that those adversity made me who I am today. If I didn't have those battles, if I didn't have those kind of stereotype that kind of made me mad and put a fire like in my heart or my body, like I wouldn't be the player I am. I wouldn't be the person I am today. So without those things, like losing a father at a young age, I don't know if I would have got my master's degree. I don't know if I would have been the starting linebacker as a Japanese player at a D1 level. I don't know if I would have, got drafted first round to the Winnipeg. So it's like those things made me who I am and made me stronger. So, growing up, sometimes like learning English was, it could be difficult. And sometimes I say the wrong things like growing up, and then, people will laugh at it like you said that word wrong or something like that. And then I really didn't like that because I like to, always be right. So I'll go home and really practice. I would say the word over and over and over until I can get it right. I'll just listen to it on like YouTube or something, and I'll just keep listening to it until I can get the pronunciation right. So, it just came with hard work, and then those little adversities and big adversities really made me into a warrior that I am today. What's
your approach on a daily basis? I mean, do you have, and the reason I ask this is because you're bringing up the important things in life, a male role model, a father, somebody in your life to show you the ways, that to be a man of God, to be a man in the world, just to be that person. Do you feel like you continue to do that on a daily basis? Like, what's your wake up and routine? You're obviously a driven young man. You want to succeed. You're a perfectionist at heart. You've got drive. So what time are you like a Marky Mark? Are you waking up at 4:30 and you're doing your workout and you're hanging out for 15 hours? Or like, what's your typical day as far as getting ready? You're doing what you're doing, getting ready for the CFL.
Yeah. So, I'm not really the type of person to wake up like at 4 a.m. or anything like that. I graduated with a kinesiology athletic medicine major. So I kind of learned a lot of things about the body, recovery and stuff like that. So you kind of need sleep. As athletes, for how hard you train, you need a lot of sleep. Like they say that Olympic athletes need about 10 hours of sleep. So, I don't know, like if you wake up at 4, you got to be going to sleep at like 8. So me, I can't really do that with my schedule. So I wake up around 7 to 8, and then I usually go lift weights for like an hour and a half. Then I come back. I usually eat like chicken, rice, vegetables, and stuff like that. I eat pretty healthy. And then after I eat, and after my food digests, I go to the field and then do field work for, hour and a half, 2 hours. And then I come home and I, usually stretch, just chill out. And I usually just try to watch some type of football, like YouTube, CFL game, or my old film, or anything like that, just to keep my mind in football, because football isn't all physical. it's a lot of mind game too. So, you know, I do that, and I just do that really every day. And then I try to work out almost every day.
Do you enjoy being or having that control in the field? Do you enjoy being able to look at a quarterback and figuring out, I know where this is going. I know what's happening.
Yeah.
I know what's going to happen, and we're going to smash it. Do you
Yeah.
enjoy that chess piece in football?
Yeah, that's like the best part about football is that when you see a formation or a personnel and then you just see the old lineman's hands, like sometimes it's light, sometimes they're heavy on their hands. So you kind of notice those little things and you're like, okay, this guard is about to pull. I can just see it by his body, and I seen that on film. He's about to pull. They're about to run a power. I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna trust my gut and just go. And then if you get right, boom, you're gonna make those tackle for loss, and people are gonna look at you like, whoa, like how'd you get there so fast? But it comes with film study. It comes with time. Like Luke Kuechly, he was a linebacker for the Panthers, and he was the best at it. He watched film more than anybody. He wasn't the most athletic. He wasn't the most fastest linebacker, but he was probably the smartest linebacker. And he would make those plays, and he would get those interceptions before the offense can even like adjust to a different formation. So so I look up to like players like him, and then I try to mimic what they do. And it's probably the best feeling when you get it right. Like when you make that tackle for loss and you're like, I knew it. It's almost like you're acing a test. Like you walk into a test and you know that you're just going to ace it. You walk in and you're like, everybody's all stressed out, but you just walk in like I'm ready to take this. I'm going to ace it. I know it. So it's kind of like that confident boost. And then it gives you that extra, push to play better.
So your approach is true professional. I mean, that's your job. Your job is to be professional. Your job is to study, know, understand, find a person's tell. Do they call an audible in this formation? Is it the same audible every time?
Yeah.
Like that tape study and the degrees, I think for me, a lot of times when we take the chance to get to know somebody like yourself is really key for us, because that tells a lot of not just what you're studying, right, but the degrees that you have with it and the life story. Like the Japanese football, how much I was over there in Okinawa, like we had talked about before through messages. I was over there for about 7 months and spent some time on the mainland, and I loved the baseball over there. Like I absolutely loved the baseball over there. Plus they're mad about golf. The golf driving ranges are there's interstates that go around like driving places for golf.
And the thing about the driving, sorry to cut you off, but
no,
the golf place is that at Top Golf. Have you been to Top Golf before?
Yeah.
Like the balls will automatically come out, but you have to pick the ball up and put it on the the
tee.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to always bend over, get the ball, and put it on the tee. But most of the places in Japan, they will automatically just put it, like they have a machine that gets the ball and put it on the tee every single time. So after you hit it, boom, you don't have to bend over. You just wait for the ball to just get on the tee, boom, you hit it. So it's like their technology over there is just, kind of futuristic, just ahead of time.
It was hard when I came back to explain the difference in how automated they're willing to be as opposed to us in the States that are like, absolutely not. I want nothing to do with that. And the enhancements over there are really fun. That was what I enjoyed the most. Mm-hmm. Did you experience American football over there while you were a kid, or was your experience only when you moved back over here?
Yeah, so I didn't even know anything about Japanese football, but whenever I researched it, like whenever I was like about to go to Japan, I noticed that they've had football like before I was even born, but I didn't even know they had American football because where I grew up I grew up in Shizuoka, Japan, and they don't have football. Like soccer is really their main sport. It's like soccer then baseball. So it's only really popular in Tokyo and Osaka. Like those are like the two biggest cities in Japan. So those are like really the only two cities that really play American football over there. But if you go to those cities, like when you talk about American football, a lot of people will actually know and actually understand the rule and everything. So football is, getting bigger and bigger. And yeah, I actually didn't know anything about it. I didn't even know they had college football over there either. So yeah, I had no idea. So the thing was, like, I did my pro day in 2019 at UTSA, and then after the draft, you know, I was kind of devastated, and I kind of just gave up on football for about 2 months. I started working, and you know, I just didn't want to do anything with football. I was so devastated that I didn't even want to watch it. Every time I see it on TV, I'll change it or turn it off.
Right.
And I did, like, if I see it on like Instagram or something, I just like scroll it or just unfollow it because I didn't want to deal with anything about football. And I started working for about 2 to 3 months, and I missed it. Like, I missed the excitement. I miss hitting people. I miss all that, everything to do with football, like that family team sport. And yeah, after that, you know, I started doing my research, and that's when I found out about the X League.
You get paid to be violent. That's really what it is. You get paid to go out there and try to hurt people. And I appreciate that more than anything because I that's the part, as you grow old and you get old like me, I'm an old man. That part of life and that zest to be able to run full speed and hit your buddy as hard as you possibly can and maybe see snot, blood, teeth, saliva fly and get up and laugh is absolutely one of those things that football does. And it also creates some amazing rivalries between people. And the storied history of the CFL, I'm a Montana kid, so JP's not here. He's Boston. They don't have the CFL is kind of foreign to a lot of people in the States. I'm fortunate because up here in the North, like, I'm used to the 3 downs, the center line, like the extra space in the end zone that we would call it. But how do you prepare? Do you prepare for that? I mean, is it a different game? Like when you're talking about studying tape and going there, we're talking CFL, which is a much larger field in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So, you know, ever since I heard about the CFL, it was, you know, when I had that tryout in Osaka on February 2020. Ever since then, you know, I was so interested about CFL. I wanted to play. That was my goal. That was my dream. So ever since then, like, I started watching the Grey Cup on YouTube. I watched a lot of the games on YouTube that I could find. And then I just kind of started picking up a lot of the rule changes. And then I started, like, researching what's the rule change. Like, it's 3 downs instead of 4. You know, the field's bigger. It's 12 players instead of 11. And then you have to be 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage, all those little things. And I just really studied it. And then I noticed that it's a lot more passing there than it is running, just because the game is faster. So yeah, I really like that part because you know, like having 3 downs, it makes the game really, really fast paced. So I think the fans enjoy it more. Like in NFL, they have way too many commercial breaks, you know, and then the time between plays are too long. So, you know, CFL cut it short, and then it's really, like, exciting. And it's really the offense really got that advantage. So, you know, like, you see a lot of great plays, a lot of great passes and stuff like that. So I really like the CFL. I really like the way Canadians play football.
It's an offensive oriented league.
Yeah.
I will absolutely be open and honest about that every time, because when you're sending men in motion prior to the ball being snapped, the defense is automatically at a disadvantage. So when I talk about defense in CFL, I won't say that it's one of those things that people disregard, but I know that you have to have a different athlete when you're playing a different game, because the NFL game, size and speed does matter. Yeah, they're out there and they're quick, but they're playing on a smaller field. When you're talking about a bigger field in CFL, even though you throw an extra man in there, speed always beats space, man. Speed will always beat space. I feel like, I think that's where, even though you talk about being undersized, even though you talk about all of that, it's those smarts and those studying, I feel like, is where I feel like, you know, you succeed, is where you will succeed. And where, you know, even on special teams, even if that's, man, there's so many guys from Montana, even Dave Dickinson that coaches the Stampeders, man. He was a I watched him play. I loved him play at the University of Montana. I watched him through the Stampeders. I watched Ayat. I watched a lot of guys go from Montana up to the CFL. And it's a door. It's exactly a doorway for individuals that didn't get full rides.
Yeah.
Came from a different country. These stories are out there, man, and I'm excited to be able to follow yours through this Winnipeg journey. Have you ever got a call from the NFL? Have you ever got a call from the XFL? That's Bobby D. He's one of our big time fans. He's asking if you've ever got a call from those guys, or if CFL is just where we're at right now.
Yeah, so no, I never got a shot from the NFL. I never got a shot from the CFL. But like, I played with a linebacker. His name was Josiah Tauefa, and then he actually ended up going to the NFL for the Giants. So, and then when we both did the pro day together, I felt like my numbers were better, but he just had that hype. He just had that.
Yep.
Like, he was the face of UTSA, and I just felt like I'm not saying I was better than him. I'm just saying, if he could do it, I felt like I belonged there too. So that actually motivated me. Like, seeing him, succeed in the NFL, I just wanted to be like, yeah, I want to be right there with him. So, I know that I can hang with him. I know that if he can play special teams, I know I can play special teams too. So, and then I play my linebacker at junior college. His name is Kyle Wilson. He ended up going to the Eagles. Then he went to the Chargers. Now he's going to play for Hamilton Tiger Cats. So it's kind of cool. I used to play Mike. He used to play Will. So seeing him go to the NFL too, I'm like, man, I used to play with that guy right next to him, So it's like, if he can do it, I can do it too. So now I get to actually play against him, which is very, very cool. And then, and then they got another player named Raheem Bigham, and then he played DN for Hamilton Tiger Cats, and I played with him at junior college. So it's cool. It's exciting. And I got a couple of players at UTSA that play in the CFL too. So I will get to see a lot of the players that I used to play with on the field, on the other teams. But yeah, maybe we can do some jersey swap or something, take pictures, and it'll be something that we'll remember the rest of our life.
Who was the I got a couple more questions, man. I don't want to take up whole much of your time today because I know you're super busy.
I got time.
When you got that call, the draft happened, like an hour later, you're still in the house. Like, did you take time alone? Did you go, like, sit down and go, holy, it's happening. Like, it's real. Like, this is real right now.
Yeah. So, like, the thing was, like, I was actually, I grew up in Kansas. So a lot of my Kansas friends wanted me to go back to Kansas and have this, like, party thing, like a draft party with friends. But, like, I was really about to go. And then at the last second, I was kind of like, I kind of want to be, like,
it's big news. It's big news.
I kind of just want to be, like, by myself, really, because, like, that's really all, like, I grinded by myself. I believed in myself by myself, like, so I it was really me and God. So it's just, I wanted to be alone. I just wanted to be, like, have my own space and just really take in that moment. So it was just me and my friend. He played football at UTSA. I was just at his house and we were both watching it. And then I was just kind of like, right after I saw it on the little tracker thing, I saw my name. As soon as that happened, I really just started praying. I just started to just, like, put my head down and close my eyes and really took in that moment. And then and after that, I got the call, and that's when I started screaming. So I was like, I just let it all go. So yeah, it was really exciting. So it's something I remember the rest of my life for sure.
What was it? Did you just sign the contract yesterday? Did you just ink that yesterday, or was it the day before?
So, like, I signed it about a couple of days ago, but then they officially made it, like, official yesterday.
Right.
They made it official yesterday.
When was it hard signing that? Was it like, or was it like a no-brainer? Like, this is my opportunity. I'm not gonna wait for anything else. Like, I'm jumping at this. I'm doing this.
Yeah, like, a lot of people, might say that, like, global players would kind of get, like, minimum salaries, so we don't get paid that much.
Right.
And then we don't really get paid until the first game. So it's like, some people might, like, complain about it, but with me, it was a no-brainer. I was like, I'm not playing for money. I'm not playing for fame. I'm playing because I want to play with, like, the best of the best. I want to play with better, competition. So, like, I just signed the paper and I was just really excited. I'm just waiting for, this Corona thing to be over with so I can just go to Winnipeg and start my training camp.
Absolutely. So everybody that's out there, can you just give your socials? So if anybody wants to follow you, Les, can you shoot out your socials to them so they can follow you and keep track of you on your journey?
Yeah. So my Twitter and my Instagram is the same. It's really Les, LES, and my last name Maruo, MARUO, and 44. So Les Maruo 44. And 44 obviously is a number I wore at UTSA, and it means a lot. I kind of, I got it randomly. Like they just gave me that number, but I always kind of like to put it. You know how the 4 kind of looks like an F?
Absolutely.
So I just put it like forever family or for faith forever. So I just kind of wear that 44, and then even though I didn't pick that number, I feel like it was it was chosen for me. So yeah.
So you kind of feel like the number picked you. You didn't pick the number.
Yeah, it just happened. Like it was just really cliche as it sounds, just God's plan. Everything happens for a reason. Yeah.
Do you feel that plan? I mean, it's hard for people that when I ask this question. It's why I always love it when I get people that are religious or faith or spiritual like myself. Is it hard for you to turn that over on a daily basis, just to say it's out of my hands? There's nothing I can do about it, and I either move on from it or I make more of a success from it. Is that something that you try to follow?
I just kind of have that gut feeling like if something's not meant for me, then I have like a gut feeling that it's like saying like, no, don't do that. And if it's like with football, like after my pro day at 2019, I could have easily gave up, but something in my body was telling me, give it a try again. Like, give it a go again. Like, go to a different country. Like, I wasn't really planning on going to Japan first. I was really more looking at like league in like the Germany and like Europe, Brazil, and like Australia, because those are more talked about league. Like nobody really talks about Japan league. So I was just looking at those options, and I was kind of like, man, something's telling me that I need to go back and just give it a try. And then if that doesn't work out, I can always say I tried. I went to a foreign country, or I went to Japan, or wherever. I went to another country, and I went to another league, and I tried. So I didn't want to just give up like that just because you didn't get a call. Don't give up. Like, there's plenty of opportunities outside of America, outside of Canada. There's plenty of leagues out there. I know you're not going to get paid that much, but if you truly love the game, you're going to play. And I tweeted this today, but, it's not over until you say it's over. It's almost like it's not over until you give up, basically. So, don't let other people tell you that, your career's over, because their opinion has nothing to do with your dreams and your goals. I could have easily let those opinions get to me and say, oh man, I didn't make it. But I just kept believing. I kept believing. I always thought that, I belong there. So I just kept my faith and kept believing. And now it's really happening. So I just got to keep going, keep grinding, keep believing, and just go up from that.
Awesome, man. On behalf of XFL Newsroom, XFL Extreme, and all the CFL fans, Winnipeg Blue Bombers linebacker Les Maruo, thank you so much for taking the time today, man. It's been awesome. We look forward to seeing you succeed, and I want you to stick with me. Everybody else, we're out of here. But thanks for watching. Thanks for the comments, and make sure you guys, when the season starts, check out number 44. If you're still going to be wearing 44, we don't know, but we'll see if another number gets gifted to you, man. We appreciate the time.
Appreciate that. Thank you for having me on here.
Job, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
What I'll do is I'll remove you out of here.